Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
I'm afraid not every human is as smurfy as they should be, Sassy.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Yeah, certainly. Here we are.
This pizza pie won't pass. Too many calories. Oh, the rest is okay. Natural light! Get it off me! Get it off me!
I don't know the meaning of the word chicken.
Documented Geek Day.
And go.
All right, so it's me.
Yeah, I'll edit that. My mind isn't blank. I still got
That's
anxiety
perfect.
from yesterday.
We are back with the Geeked In once again, and I would like to point out that we are running consecutive months. We never run consecutive months. All of us have shit we have to do.
Yep.
This is, I'm not going to say unprecedented, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Terry, Harlows Haunt. We
Harlows
watched a movie that you put together as a completely independent film. Absolutely awesome to be able to sit down with somebody that I guess wrote, directed, like it was all you with the conception. Yeah, I'm assuming that there were others involved, but I'm guessing like the main point of it was you, right?
Yeah,
Concept and direction.
Yeah, it was kind of the ringleader. um, it might be a good time to get the jabber stuff out with my speech. Is a little wacky, so everybody can kind of hang with me with that. I had a little health scare a while back, so it affects my speech a little bit. So it makes it entertaining anyway. So but yeah, Harlow's. I've been working around horror. I've been a horror fan my whole life. I mean, since I was a kid, and I'm really old, by the way. So I've been around there, for everything. I just want to take off right now and start talking about influences and things. But yeah,
Before we go any further, I would like to make it clear, anybody that has ever seen this on YouTube, you already know, but anybody that's discovering it for the first time, we're going to go off the rails a lot. It's going to happen. We're not good at staying on track. We'll bring it back.
Nope.
It's you.
Yeah,
But-
somehow it always comes back.
Yeah, we do. We managed to pull it back in, but it's with effort. It's never just like an organic. Like we have gone way past the point of no return, and someone will be like, "Wait a minute, that wasn't the question."
2
So
hours into it. Wait a minute. What are we doing here?
Want to talk about pontificate on horror? Absolutely do so. There is not a person here that would not appreciate it. It is an appreciated and loved genre.
well, it sounds great because and I'm the same way. And we were talking earlier, as far as I really don't subscribe to the planned everything. I love the organic approach of things, and it's real for the moment. I mean, you can feel it's got to have that visceral element to everything. And I love that with my camera work and everything. And I like when I shoot, I use like small cameras and do it in weird ways. And it's like just do stuff. I mean, if you overthink it, you're going to overthink it, to me. And I'm not saying this is the only way to make movies. It's like, you've got, different approaches for big budget, whatever. But it's just the way it works for me. I like the things to be very obviously scripted, but to have a lot of spontaneity to it. So that, and I can tell you some good stories about the shoot actually. That really it brings the life to things to me anyway. And as a director, I know we've got some major directors that they will shoot 20, 30 takes just to have them, and that's great. And these are big names. I'm not going to say the names, but they're just the way they work.
Yeah,
And
it's an under. Yeah.
and it's awesome. But the actors at some point are getting, as humans, they're getting wore out. So and then you have to, you kind of lose that spontaneity. So I like to see that in other movies, and I can almost spot it in a lot of movies, especially indies, because you're going to take 1, 2, 3 takes or whatever and find the best one, and you can feel that energy that either ebbs or flows. And I love to see that stuff. So what see, I'm already off the rails. What were we talking about?
You start off the
It
rails.
happens again.
You're running in line. First off, there were a couple of questions that Craig and I had even shot back and forth to each other after we watched the movie. Well, one of my questions concerned the what you shot on, like legitimately. So, like, you covered that, you or at least you briefly mentioned. I'd like to get a little further into it.
Yeah.
But also, even as you referred to the spontaneity, I was curious about the way in which the script was applied. Because, like, was it a all right? So you have, if you have, like you were saying, there are directors out there that'll run through. And how many takes? Also, was one of the questions. Like, how long was the shoot? How long did it take to run a shoot? There are specific questions I have in relation to that. So you sort of touched on it. Let's start off with that one. What were you shooting on? What was the main shot? Or what were you shooting with mainly?
Okay. Well, and I've not really made a big deal about this yet, because I was working. I'm a big fan of small cameras.
Yep.
And and technology. And my real before I moved totally into film, I worked kind of parallel for years as an Apple consultant and a trainer. So I've worked around creatives for everything, still photography, cinematography, the whole thing. So it's been a good thing to rub together that way. So I kind of got more and more involved with it, and I started working with George Romero, good friend, when he had a podcast show that I hosted called the Drone Cab, because drones, not that far long ago was, it was, what is this thing? And now it's like suddenly it's this magic thing. But then people, cinema guys, filmmakers and all needed to learn how to use this stuff right. And and you still have right and wrong the way to do things. I mean, you do have legal things to think about. You've got the way you shoot is different. You can accomplish get things that are just amazing, but it's a different mindset. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to grab my normal camera and put it in the air. No. It just no. It's, I mean, in a way you can kind of fudge it, but if you want to do it right. So I had the show, the drone cav, but there's only so much you can talk about that stuff. I mean, it's what it is, but there's related cameras, small cameras, GoPros, that kind of thing. Your phone. I mean, there's guys. You can make movies on your phone. There's a lot of tech that walking.
So you mentioned your phone in particular. If you took any of the any of the iPhones, like let's say 8 on, yeah,
Mhm.
they literally had a stabilizer rig for them.
Mhm. Yeah.
If you were to use one, I mean, I think they filmed part of Hardcore Henry on a stabilizer rig with an iPhone.
Yeah.
So my like there were shots in Harlow's Haunt that I figured were probably off of a stabilizer rig. I wasn't sure about it. I'm not positive, right? Because that's not really my thing. I'm an illustrator. I'm not a that like
Right.
not my thing. But I've watched enough movies that I could sort of guess. I suppose I don't know how to put it. So
Right.
there were no shaky tracking shots. There was no shaky cam, which is something you see in a lot of modern movies,
Mhm.
right? The shots they were intentional. They were set up. They were meant. It wasn't there was no clumsy for realism effect inherent in them, which is a lot of what you would see with what I would think of as like a GoPro shot or something along
Yeah.
those lines, you get the shaky cam effect. You get somebody right in on the action, which is supposed to convey that to the audience. I personally, from my standpoint, I've never really enjoyed it. It just pisses me off that I can't see what I'm watching.
Right.
I mean, but I did not get that out of Harlow's Haunt. I assumed, like I said, I assumed they were stabilizer rigs. I assumed you were using native sound. I was assuming. Yeah.
I- Well,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just wanting to just throw stuff at you. So
No,
okay.
I'm just babbling at this point.
Well, and then one I got involved with this company early on, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and now they're blowing up. Yeah, Insta one 360, and they are the leaders in the world with 360 cameras, and they have everything for small cameras, which are amazingly powerful, up to really big cinema cameras that have what's the Titan has like eight cameras in the thing. It's like a big ball.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's insanely powerful. So somewhere in the middle, I started working with the 360 stuff. And now the cool thing about it is you can use the lenses in such a different way. Like if you need to get a shot, and say you've got one shot to get this shot, you're only gonna get this one take for this thing. If you can shoot it with a 360 camera, and now we're not getting into resolution and stuff. You can deal with that later. But if you need to get this shot, you can put the. I'll show you some.
Got 8 different lenses you can do it through.
Put the camera here, get the shot. You have the whatever happens, the explosion or whatever, and then in post. And I love post. I don't care what anybody says. I love post. It's another part of the process. So in post with the 360, then think of yourself as being like in the middle of this sphere. And so whatever happened from here or there or whatever, you can frame what you need from that. So if something happened right off frame, it's like damn, I lost it. I didn't get it. Oh wait, if you're on your other, if you're doing this, you can just say, no, I'm just going to frame it here. Oh wait, I'll frame this, or I'll frame here. I can frame that, or I can, split screen it over and over and over. If you want to do, one thing I was going to, it was a shot that didn't make it into Harlow's, was to have some of the characters driving, which it ended up being in the parking lot. So we were going to have a shot, a split screen where you would see the conversation from both perspectives. So and you can get that from one shot from one camera, and the camera is this
Cool.
big. So you can do these crazy things. I can put the camera literally anywhere.
So it's really like, so describing in post, then it's legitimately all the digital filming involved. It
Mhm.
is being digital film. So it's like if
Oh,
you
totally.
have one camera filming through what you described as 8 lenses at the same time, is right, and you can choose the shot.
Actually, and this is a newer version of what I shot on.
Right?
But this, I'll show you this guy. I just got it. They just
Oh, that's perfect. Absolutely. If you got something, please do.
So everybody, if you don't, have you ever seen this? Jump online and get one. I mean, I can help you hook up with that. This is an ins.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look at this.
That's now see, you've got this only has 2 lenses, front and back. Now, what it does is when you shoot, it's like half of
Right?
a globe here and here. It shoots. This will shoot in 8K, so that gives you enough uh, uh, um, space to work with reframing it. So you're not going to get the whole 8K, but you're going to, if you're going to boil down to your frame, you're going down to be about 2K, 2.4 or something like that. I can't remember what the math is, but it's fine. You want a DVD is what 720, blah 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 blah.
Is that what you shot Harlows on?
The older version.
Older version of it, though.
Yeah. And
it's the same general idea, though.
Yeah, basically the same idea.
You know what's crazy?
This is a $500 camera, and you got some gear and stuff. I've got like I've got so much under my desk. I think I've got like a rig that I can mount like well, this isn't the same one. This is for well, you could use it, but it's
okay, yeah, absolutely. So here's the question. When when you have this camera set up, right?
Mhm.
You're I'm assuming running it like line straight to a computer so you can actually check the shot, yeah?
No, you remotely from an iPad. So I can
Really? Okay,
yeah.
so all right, yeah, iPad, but computer is what I'm saying. You're looking at a screen.
Yeah. So I have the full, and you have kind of a small screen here, but you can't use that.
Oh, yeah, no,
You can use some settings or something, but
like it's like the same as using a Nintendo Switch, like playing it like this as opposed to
yeah. I mean, it would be you couldn't really set anything up right, but I've got an
Let's say
iPad.
that you're running straight to a larger screen. In this case, an iPad. I guess for you, you were using an iPad. So
Yeah.
you're running the older version of that when you did Harlow's Haunt. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So point of the matter is, though, when you were doing it, did you have the ability to look at the multiple possible outcomes at the time?
Oh yeah, instantly.
That's really fucking cool. Like that's a whole.
Come on, guys, look at this. What's this? Does this look okay? Okay, there's one. We've got a like a BTS thing, behind the scene thing, on our YouTube. I can send you the link. It's about 20 minutes or something like that. But there's a shot in there. There's one of the kills. There's the one girl with the blood and that kind of thing. Because we want to get that. And
well, by the way, was gonna like she did very well. That was a so as far as acting goes, as far as it's a classic shot. Like you show an insert without an insert, basically. So you get the end result resulting in like this has been stabbed, and then there's the fucking gurgle. She did well with that shit. She did.
That's the BTS thing. It's like after we got we called cut, and it was like and you can hear me saying, all right, this is amazing, because I'm watching live what's going on, and we cut, and everybody kind of walks around in the behind the scenes, and they can blip, check it out. I want to show you one time because this came out so cool. I want you guys to see it. But we could do that right there. Literally, I could edit that shot right on the spot. And of course, there's more that goes into it when you really want to do your coloring and all that stuff. So when you actually get into post and make a really thing. But if you need to get something done quick, I mean, it's doable, and you've got all this stuff to do. I mean, you've got, so many tools to edit, whether it's from your phone, your iPad, your computer, man, there's just everything out there
It's a
now.
different world.
Yeah, and a lot of them are free too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craziest thing in the world. There are so many resources, which once again, if anybody happens to run across this because they looked up indie film, there are so many resources for you guys. There are so many. There are so many people that want you to make those movies and put them out.
Yes.
Like,
And,
they just, for the love of God, make something new.
yeah. Why I always, well, what's on the on my show on the drone cav, it was my big thing that I really, 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 just beat constantly. It's like all the things that used to, and again, I've been around a long time, and I had a lot of when I was a kid, what I had, again, I'm late 50s. So in the 70s, what I had to made, what I had to make a film with was an old, not even a Super 8. I had an old 8 millimeter piece of crap, and you'd have to, I could, make about, I don't know, 5 minutes of footage, send it off, weeks. I get, the reel, and then get a, play with it. It's like, oh, look at this, I made a movie. It's like, it's like now there is no excuse. If you want to make a movie, make a movie. Take your phone. You can do, there is no obstacle. The only thing is, for you to come up with an idea. And even if it's not if you don't even think it's the best idea, I mean, if your story sucks, they all suck at some point.
Yeah.
And, just go into it, man. You can do everything. And I'm the first person to, get behind everybody. And it's like, man, don't worry about how it looks or what you're going to do. If you can just afford, a light, or, just something, or, have a buddy hold this prop up, or something, just anything, you can make a movie. I mean, just go for it. And I really want to encourage everybody to just, man, have fun with it. And the next one will be better. That we all are somewhere in the curve. And so, but, like I said, start with your phone or something. I mean, anything, an old phone. I mean, if you can just, go at it. And talking about the rigs that you can use now. What is the name of that company? It's like Beast Grip. And they have amazing things you can get to pop your phone in, and they got lenses and adapters, and just everything.
Do they make the stabilizer rigs? I'm assuming they do.
Yeah, a
That's
lot of them will do that. Yeah.
one of the bigger things that I ever felt came out. Like, as far as, so so you're in your late 50s. I am coming up on 45 right now. For me, the whole idea is, when you look back on the movies that I came up on, the horror movies at least that I came up on, were all from the perspective of the villain chasing down the random people in the high school. You know what I mean? Like, that was horror for me, with the exception of Amityville, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So the whole idea that, like, there was a shaky quality because you had to have somebody with a steady ability to carry an entire literal, like, basically like this huge weighted machine on their shoulder in a steady manner, aimed in a direction that they were supposed to be aimed at, with only a little eyepiece that may or may not have been calibrated properly.
Right.
Like, there was an actual art in it.
Yeah.
But what's cool is, like, the stabilizer shit, once again, for anybody that runs across this, look into the company. If they make stabilizing equipment, they just spend the $200 on it and get it. It's worth it. Even the cheap shit is worth it. Throw your iPhone in that thing and make a movie. You can do it. You 100% can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and and use the same from the same token, don't overuse stabilization too, because because a lot of ambience can be, pulled back into a scene, and of course most editors, you can control that. You can add
if you
shape
can
to it.
splice multiple shots, like if you could take a shot with a steady cam and then you can add something like, well, that's back to the point. If you feel like either if you only have the one camera, then you reshoot it and hope everybody gets it right. But if you have multiple cameras, yeah, absolutely. Splice
Yeah.
this together because it does make for a more engaging visual.
Yeah, and you can get that different, POV from different characters, and again, your imagination are the only it's the only limit, because you can come up with anything that you can, that if you can imagine it, you can film it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is that. You know what? If there is a point to take away from anything, that's it. That's the one. Can you think of it? It can be done. Like, especially now, even with like Craig was saying, free software. Are you curious about like, do you know how to edit and post? Doesn't matter. Go to YouTube, figure it out, and find the online version of the software that will let you do it. It doesn't have to be Photoshop. It doesn't have to be anything from Adobe. You can find software that is free to use that
And
will let you figure it out.
it's like really easy to use too. Like, yeah.
I would argue that the Apple stuff is actually ready to go out of the box. Like, you have an iPhone, you have access to iMovie, you have access to iMovie, you can edit.
Well, and iMovie, and I can preach Apple stuff probably more than anything else because I've just been around it. But it's not it's not like the best thing. It's like, oh, I'm snob. It's like, no, I just know what I know, and there's so many good options out there. But like with iMovie, it's free. I mean, you put it on your phone, put it on your iPad, your computer, whatever. It's free. But if you want to go to the next step, you want to graduate to Final Cut, then everything feels the same.
Final Cut Pro. That was yeah, no, that's I'm with you on that. So the Final Cut thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an absolutely wonderful chunk of software. It's fucking amazing. It's not even, once again, not even my thing. I used it to play with Flash animation back in the day, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
But the point of the matter is, I did play with it. I understand
it's
relatively intuitive. It's fun to use.
It's fun, and it's got just again so much power, and there's some other good options like DaVinci is fantastic, and they have a free version. But then I think, and don't quote me on it, but I think they're about the same price as Final Cut. It's like 300 for the full version. And so there's some really good options out there, and it depends on what your preferences are. And but again, if you're used to using your iMovie and you want to get something more fleshed out, there you go. And everything's going to feel about the same. I mean, it's going to have more toys and tools and things, but it's also going to feel familiar. It's like, oh, okay, so I know go from here with that, and I can find things and do things, and it's really cool that way.
Once again, anybody that runs across this, just if you happen to, there's free trials for everything.
Yeah.
Please use the free trials.
Well, Final Cut has a 90-day full version.
Like 3 months. 3 months in order.
3 months.
Now that is
you can make a movie.
Yeah, you could. You absolutely could, especially if you timed it right. Like if you set it up, you've got principal filming and everything done, and you decide you're going to load everything up and be like, I have 3 short months to do this in. No, you have 3 whole months. You can do this. That's 90 days of your life, maybe 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
You could make this happen. And you can do it all for free.
And it's not really that high, really. It's like $300. And it sounds like a lot of money, but I remember 10 years ago, it was, God, what was it? $1,200 or something like that.
I got the Adobe, so the Adobe suites, like the Adobe Pro suites I got when I got out of school, that thing was $1,600 with add-ons afterwards, which came out to fucking like 18.
Yeah.
And that was just for what I would call the basic Adobe setup when Lightroom first came out.
Yeah.
Lightroom was a relatively new feature when I did that. So $1,800, and I was like, I mean, I was relatively poor too. And I got it because I had just graduated and they had a discount. So I don't even know what the pro version cost. I just know what it cost for me.
Yeah.
I still have it. I actually have an Apple that I ended up getting reset Like I had to take it to a computer place for them to draw it back to a 32-bit system as opposed to
Yeah.
64-bit, so that I could keep using the shit that I paid for.
Yeah.
And that thing, like I still use it now. If I have to digitally do anything, I do it on that. Point of the matter is, yeah, it's an expensive thing, but it doesn't have to be. There are ways to go around it.
Right.
Like, not, once again, not suggesting anybody should do such a thing. If Adobe is listening, please don't fuck up my use it tomorrow and it's just going to be a weird vectored outline for everything. It's going to do nothing. It's all you're going to see is like a weird 3D effect for like a drawing that I scanned in, and it's not going to make sense.
See,
we know we have an algorithm, sir. Speaking of which, I think this is a good moment to take a break. If you're good to go, Craig.
Yeah.
Over here, I'm a boglin. Me and my buddies need a place to hide out. Come a little closer. Oh, did I scare you? Oh, I do that so well. If you take us home, we'll kiss your Aunt Martha. We'll eat your peas. And we hope you know lots of girls. Hey, the name's Boglins, each sold separately, and we're looking for good homes. Maybe yours?
This is a nightmare from Stephen King.
Hello?
You don't want your phone to ring.
Honey, calm down. Whatever it is, it can't be that.
All you'll hear is a desperate cry. And then
Bill, she's out in the middle of nowhere alone.
a loved one soon will die. From Stephen King, a special Tales from the Dark Side.
Friday at 11 on PHL 17.
You want to hit this one or me? Got to be one of us.
You. I said we're back.
You want to
All
tag team? Like if I throw a hand up, you want to do the other part? We're back.
We can get the wave going.
So we can do. Could we do the wave? Like, if we want to run through the entire thing. No, we are back with the Geek Den. We're here with Terry. We're talking about Harlows Haunt. We are running on to a little more subversive question. I guess some more subversive questions, mostly as it applies to the people that were acting, the characters. When watching the movie, you have what, five principal characters?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, just disregarding if you were to disregard the intro and you were to look at the main chunk of everything that occurred from there. Yeah.
Right. Like those five.
So, well, even if you were to take into consideration the intro, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
10. Oh, you would argue 10. You would argue 10, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because I'm kind of counting down. Okay, how many people were cast, and so all that kind of thing. But yeah, we have kind of the story is set in two timelines. In the 19 what was 19 the 19s something, and then
Anybody that comes across this, you refer to that as the old times.
yeah, and then it jumps to current. So well, let's jump into the present time, we'll call it. And we've got five characters that as you find out, they are friends, old friends, work, been together, since they were kids, and they've had a lot of things to deal with, and something had, I'm not to give too much away, but there was an event that fractured them, and there's a lot of questions that kind of linger amongst them. And when I wrote that stuff about all those characters, I could almost see not a particular person or people that I know more, but like people that everyone has this person in mind. Like she reminds me about this, or that guy reminds me of a friend, or all these characteristics. But there were things that overlap, because you don't have this even flow. Now I'm going to get the song in my head. So you got this even flow of, everybody is, if you want to say happy, or, content with each other and blah, blah. No, you've got people that talk behind each other's back, and you've got all the, these things, and, these people, are going to be talking about those people. And you've got this dynamic that gets really kind of weird when you learn more about these characters and what's happened to these characters versus these characters. And then you've got one character that is it was basically like, we'll say it was two couples and a third wheel. Well, I guess she was a fifth wheel. But there's kind of a reason, like, or is there a reason? Why is she a wheel, third wheel? And so there's all these textures that come out of those performances, and all those five actors, they're all local. They're fantastic. I just can't say enough about them. I mean, they really had a lot of again, I'll go back to the word dynamic. I mean, they worked so well. I mean, when we were shooting, we did our reads and prep and all that stuff, and we would get on set, and we goof around and eat pizza and blah 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 and play with the cameras. And it's like, okay, let's go, and they would nail it, and they would just kind of bring it, and they all worked so hard to bring that life to their performances. So yeah, they were all great, and especially toward the end, where things do kind of turn dark, and it goes into a different place for the ending of the movie. So they really I think pulled that off really well. They started finding things out about themselves along the way. So,
Which
and
we
a lot
were
of
going,
questions.
we were without we did all right. So prior to any of this starting, we were talking about it without recording. The ending of the film, as it related to, well, really all the characters in it. Like you were saying, the exposition that led up to the individual characters being what they were. What were your, without once again anybody giving away anything? What were your influence? What were the things that, because there is something there. Like if you're a horror movie person, that is something you recognize. It's not a trope. Trope is the wrong way to put it, but it is something like you do feel it coming.
The way I could say it, and this is kind of probably a cheesy or goofy way to say it, it's like almost a not one but a ton of love letters to horror. I kind of going back, I'm old and blah 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 blah. I grew up with the Hammer films, the Chiller on Saturday night, things like that. Night Gallery, The Zone, things like that, and Romero stuff.
Oh yeah, Tales from the Dark Side.
Crazy, yeah,
Dark
and
Side, God Almighty,
and that kind of
Monsters was a pretty damn good show.
Yeah, I forgot about it. But that whole thing of the storytelling to me was first, and then tell a story, a creepy story. I mean, there is kind of a reason for this happening, or what's going on, and then there's going to be the payoff, or it's going to end in the this way that's going to be unexpected, and where's it going to go? And like with Harlows, and you probably caught it. A lot of people have come back and I've had people almost demand an explanation. Like, what happened? I thought, but then it wasn't. It's like, I kind of, and I've got it, an explanation, but it's like, but then again, it kind of leaves to the imagination of the viewer. I mean, it can do a few different things, but yeah, there's some reasons for what happened, and but you think you've got to figure it out right to there, and then it's like, wait, what happened? And then you've got the other ending, and it's like, well, what the hell is that?
I will say that, by the way. That is something. This is once again, this doesn't give anything away. The podcast ending, yeah, the final addition to the movie, which I thought. I mean, once again, even sent text about it because I was like, that's a fucking brilliant way that's a clever thing to do. Uh, it was a clever little spin.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that
But
was that was my friend Joe Ridgely from the Indie Escape, and yeah, I had this idea of to leave the movie as it was, but then it's like, but then how can you spend it more? How can you keep spinning this thing, but in to make it made sense? So yeah, so we put, I wrote this. It's like, okay, let's run through this and let's see if it works. And so I tested it on a few people, and it was like they were all just wanting to chug aspirins. I can't say it. Aspirins. It's like, okay, now I've got to think another thing. I've got to figure, and it's like, I had another reviewer. She was like, I just keep watching this, and it's different. It's like, oh, what'd she say? Oh God, it's like you see one of those 3D pictures, and then you go back and you see something different. It's like the same picture, but I see it in a different way, and I would do it again, and there it is again. And so, well, to me, my job is done because I want to light up your imagination. You can only do, I can only film up so many frames. I mean, it's going to be what it is. It's going to be static once it's done. But if I can get the story into your mind and you start filling the gaps, that's, as a writer, to me, that's gold. I mean, it's like, that's what I want to do. I want to write the story in your mind, or let you do it.
This actually leads me to a question that's actually be a great way to sum this up. It's a weird stop, but it's actually one of the more important questions to me. What you just said, the idea that you could, like, as a writer, leaving it up to, like, just making it something that could just continue, like the whole idea behind that. My question, and once again, this is it's a weird sort of, this is a weird way to wrap this up. I apologize. It's one of the main things for me. For me, any horror thriller or any type of movie you watch, generally speaking, most of the time they're made with the intent, at least nowadays, of a sequel. Yeah. As it relates to this one to me, just being a horror guy, I mean, there's so many movies I've watched that literally fall into this category. I mean, you could, like, Triangle. There are so many movies that fall into this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it left it open. There is an opening. And the question is, as a writer, as you brought it up,
mm-hmm.
what's done with the intention of leaving an opening?
Kinda, yeah. Because I, as and early on, when I was in the writing process, I was struggling finding the best way to direct the activity. It's like, I could have this happen to that person, or this or that. I mean, you can do anything, but I liked everything. And it's like, how now it's about personally thing for me. How am I going to settle myself down to choose how to go down this road. And so, yeah, the possibility is still there to expand this or build it into other elements of the bigger world. Because it is, I write like with the camera, with the 360 camera. I write about everything that's going on, times, forward and back, and there's no there. I just, again, I'm kind of crazy that way. It's like there's stuff everywhere. I mean, there's all these elements of stories or characters. I love character. I love to see
which there were quite a few of in this movie. I mean, there's a lot you could run with.
Oh yeah, there's so many, and they all have little things going on. Like every, Dylan, it played Ben, the guy with the big hair. Love it. I love Dylan. He's a great friend. And he man, he's such a good actor. He was also on in I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's rolling out there. The Beast comes at midnight. Another Florida horror. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, there's more going to that through that character, but then there's characters that were small characters, their stories to be told. And so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity and possibility to expand or bring in other stories. And I've got plans to do some pretty cool stories that are, just different stuff that are part of the horror or the Harlow world. And yeah, just, more surprises. I mean, again, I want the audience, the viewer, to kind of play along. I mean, this is fun for everybody. It should be. And it's like come to our party. You watch, you're part of the movie. I mean, you're the viewer. You're half of the whole process. I mean, the filmmaker isn't dictating everything. I mean, I just think the viewer needs to be a big part of the whole process. And so,
absolutely agreed. That's one of the classic things about some of the movies I would guess all of us grew up on. Like you were saying, so the idea that the viewer is kind of part of it. There's an understanding between filmmaker and viewer that what is occurring. Like, I will not mention the wires that you used to make that guy fly, providing you make sure the guy looks okay flying.
Yeah,
like it's an agreement. It's an understanding. Which is a random side note. I've been drinking.
See, I'm like all healthy. I'm like this juice stuff, but hey, but yeah, I mean, and we were talking earlier about influences. I mean, I grew up, a huge Hitchcock fan. I mean, I watch Psycho. I mean, I need to help. I need help because I watch it too many times. There's so much value in these movies. Hitchcock, David Lynch. I mean, God, can we start?
Yeah.
I mean, you can probably see a lot of my stuff. I will, get all geeky about it because it's like, yeah, it just that's what inspires me and what I like to see and that kind of stuff is just amazing. I love inventive stuff. That's why I love Lynch so much because he doesn't spoon feed you so much. You have to kind of figure it out or just
feel okay about it afterwards. There's not a single one. Even his most commercial effort will still leave you feeling sort of.
Yeah. I mean, I love. Have you ever seen the short? Oh, what did Jack do? Or what did Jack do?
All right, so I know what you're referring to, and I've heard of it but never watched it.
You got to find it. It's about 20 minutes.
Right.
It's I don't know why. I am just shocking. I love that whole thing. I mean, it's simple. It's Lynch at his best. It's not a big thing. I mean, it's just him and I'm not going to and a monkey and talking about a rooster. So it's on YouTube. I mean, it's I love it. But I love to see everything. I want to see like the cuts, the timing, the dialogue. How does that step on the next scene, and how does all this stuff emerge? And you see, watch a master like that, or again like Hitchcock or Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, Rodriguez, dude, Jesus, that guy.
Yeah.
Fucking Planet Terror.
Oh,
Planet Terror is a brilliant movie. It's a simple, silly idea presented between two people, but man, that movie fucking rocks. Every part is fucking rocking. And rocking, by the way, is the best description that I can give it. It is fucking metal. All the way through. Absolutely.
It just kept going. Boom, 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 boom. It's like
the fucking scene missing shit. It doesn't matter because it didn't matter. It was like one scene after another leading to a final culmination in something that didn't make any difference. It was like Grindhouse fucking masterpiece.
Yes, yes.
And even back to Tarantino, which I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know anybody in our age group and probably below us that is not a Tarantino fan for the same reason. It managed to bring about an entire genre of movie that we didn't know we were missing until we saw it again.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like literally just watching it again and being, holy shit, movies.
Well, and it delivered in such a good way, or an effective way. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to remake this to be this song. It's like, no, we're going to give you the real thing that we can do. We can bring that back. And there was like a reverence to it. I loved what was it? Four Rooms. You saw that?
Great.
I mean, God.
Wonderful movie. The same thing though. The exact idea. The idea that a bunch of guys could get together, make a movie, and not only that, but get some major talent involved in it. And they all knew what movie they were in. They knew what they were in. So like, if there was like every single member of that movie was like, we're making this for fun, and that's what they did, and it turned into Four fucking Rooms.
Yeah,
it was a great movie,
an amazing movie, and and the ending. It's like the last segment. When I first saw it, I was like howling I was in the theater. I was like losing my mind. It's like, oh my God.
I had that when, okay, so you mentioned David Lynch earlier. So my thing about Lynch, right? You have for me at least, obviously you have Eraserhead. And Eraserhead is it's even if it's not something that you feel like you can sit through, you probably should sit through it because there's so much in it.
Yeah.
It'll make you uncomfortable. Like it's an uncomfortable film, right? But then there's Rabid.
Yeah.
Rabid was so far ahead of its time. That movie was a fucking masterpiece before anybody knew that it could be done as a masterpiece. I mean, that is David Lynch. I mean, that was the back to the horror genre being what it is, like the visceral approach to anything, right?
Right.
And so in your case, for example, Harlows Haunt, the idea that there's a Florida mythos involved in it, there is still a visceral approach to it. It was the idea that this is all shit that kind of floats around in the ether. It's there. Yeah. So I mean, make a story out of it.
Well, there's we kind of touched on it, about Harlow originated from the backwoods of West Virginia. And then, but he's ends up down here in the swamps. And again, back to 100 years ago from his timeline. Yeah. I mean, it's not too much, off from that now in a lot of places. But it was, I mean, and I was imagining, and I've researched a lot, I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of fill in the gap of my own. But I pretty good guessing that it's pretty lawless back at then, and you don't know what's going on. I mean, you've got traffic coming back and forth from the islands. You've got the voodoo stuff, moving back and forth. You've got you know booze and whatever else, being traffic back and forth. But Harlows was one of these guys that just doesn't care anymore. And well, some of the lines that he delivers early on, talking about Janice, and Janice was a little what he was going to try to build a little settlement here in this area, Central Florida, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. But he wanted to have a little, maybe a little town or something, but it turned out to be just like a stopover for the bad guys, the whatever is going through. And then he just like, okay, here's the keys. But right here where I live, there's a lot of these little towns that still exist around. I mean, literally, 10 miles from where I live. Their their names are kind of funny. It's like XYZ city, XYZ town, and you go through them, and there's like 4 buildings. And it's like, okay. And then I've learned that there are a lot of these things originated from people want to leave their home, maybe from the Carolinas or something. Maybe they had issues with their church, and well, I'm going down here and set my own thing up. And all these things were real. I mean, I was finding these little threads of ideas of what's started a lot of these things, and then that kind of weaved itself into the story of Harlow and what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of iffy stuff that had been going on for years, and like now, I hate to say it, or, I'm not bringing politics or and anything, but it's like drugs and stuff still travel and stuff like that. So it's not a lot. It's almost like, yeah, it's the same, but it's not. I mean, you still had a lot of these weird things, but then you have the I don't know, you have as many uh evil demon witchcraft stuff, but maybe you do. I don't. But you've got all these characters and all this stuff going on, and yeah, okay, a good uh, thought of the when I was writing all that stuff, the origin for some of that stuff. A movie that I love, you guys probably know pretty well, Serpent and the Rainbow.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
oh, that movie, man, that whole
Yeah.
thing, that vibe with the islands and Haiti and all that stuff. It's like how much of that traveled back and forth in those times, back, and you think about, New Orleans and all the stuff going on there.
Let's say, it's
What's
you
going
could have
on?
put this out of Louisiana too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you could have. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, I understand that. 100%. And like any of the voodoo Haitian ritual stuff, you could have run with it easily. Actually,
Yeah.
you know what? What's crazy though is the idea that like Florida and Louisiana were all part of that same thing. So is the Mississippi Delta. All that anything around that area was kind of like, I mean, no, you could have gone with Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all the way to Louisiana. You could have gone with anything there for the same reason. There was a lot of the weird mystic voodoo shit in that area. You could have definitely run with it.
There's a lot of a lot of eyes looking in the other direction for stuff like that. And I saw a picture while whenever from space looking at Florida, and you can at night. So you can see, the highways. I-4 goes right through Florida and right past my house, and it's all lit up and everything. But this right area, this right from the central south, it's just dark. It's like there's nothing. And driving, I've been there a million times. There's little towns and stuff like that, but from space, it's a dark blot. So I still think of that area. It's like, right now it's dark and everything. What's shoveling around in the woods. There's who knows what, and it's kind of like a dark thing.
I think honestly, to be fair, so I think it's great that you're doing this. I think it's wonderful that you are making any movies based around this, because, like, once again, from my standpoint at least, I think of the Haitian voodoo stuff. I think about Louisiana immediately. Almost anybody would, right?
Yeah.
But it was the entire area. It was the entire Gulf, really. Yeah. I think it's awesome that you were fucking running with this, and more importantly, I think it's great that you fucking did it. It is wonderful that you put this together. There are people out there that like they have an idea but they don't know where to start. You just do it. Just go. Just do it. I mean, there's so many different bits of technology out there that you can download for free and run with. There are horror fans like Craig and I 100%. I feel like I could say this for Craig because I could say it for myself. Please, for the love of Christ, give us something new to look at. Anything new to look at.
Yeah.
We love this shit. We do. We are there for it. You're down to make it. Watch it. We want to.
Thank you so much for support for it, because you think as a creative too, at some point you start thinking, well, it's not the biggest budgets. Tom Cruise didn't walk in, and it's like, is it going to be any good? And then, I get to just a point. It's like, who cares? I mean, it exists, and it's not going to be perfect. Yeah, we didn't have $20 million budget. We didn't have, if you saw me on set and we were shooting, it was me. I've got like a stand with my audio Zoom on one thing, and I've got batteries hanging from a fanny pack. I mean, it's like, but it was like, it was alive, and everybody involved with it was tuned in, and that was the lifeblood for the whole thing, and everybody's getting excited. Just the crazy stuff we were doing, and like I said over and over, I said earlier, it was just like we shot for 18 days. I said it was an 18-day party, pizza party. It's like we just had fun. We enjoyed each other. I mean, yeah. And then I go into editing, and then I just lock myself, for months, and nobody saw me forever. And then you get into the business side of, distributed and all that stuff. But, that's part of it. And it's definitely a love to be involved with it. And like I said, part 2 is moving forward, maybe for a feature, or maybe something different or different stuff. And but yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, and we can reach audience in so many different ways, and that's the thing. It's all, I keep saying this: entertain the viewer. I mean, it might give people the best that you can do. I mean, you make it fun or something, but we should be entertaining. And if I have to start dancing or something, we're screwed. So so hopefully this can work.
Once again, I honestly, I feel like I can speak for Craig on this point, because I can definitely talk for myself on it. If I can see that somebody gave a shit about what they made,
Yeah.
If I can tell somebody cared, I can deal with anything. I mean, I want some of my favorite movies, some of my truly favorite movies throughout history, literally are absolute crap, and I know they are crap. You know what I'm saying? Like it is not something that is absolutely wonderful. But I love it because I know that the people intended something. What's even better is when a sequel pops up, they tried that much harder. But this is, by the way, once again, anybody running across this, I'm not saying that applies to this movie at all. Be very clear about that. Not saying that. I'm just saying that in general, it is a wonderful thing to watch anybody make a movie and care about it. It doesn't happen anymore. Like most of the movies we watch are big budget fucking garbage where somebody was like, this is the best shit that the algorithm would lead us to make this horror movie. And it works sometimes. There are some movies that come out that turn out great, but most of them are just shit. Like if you're a horror fan, it's garbage. You can see every hit coming.
Yeah.
You can see every moment. I mean, they're the reason why tropes exist, right? I mean, it's the idea, like the what is the medicine cabinet trope, for example, the idea that it's happened so often that they make fun of it in movies now. Like they show it happening just so nothing happens. Like that's not. I don't want to watch. That's not what I want to see. I want to see that somebody cared about it, that somebody tried. That's what matters to me.
Yeah.
It's an underappreciated moment where you can look at a movie and be like, holy shit, these people enjoyed it. Yeah, maybe it takes you out of the film. Maybe it does whatever it does to you. But at the end of the day, the fact that somebody enjoyed what they were doing is its own type of enjoyment. Like you can't not get behind it. I mean, the original fucking Chainsaw Massacre, when you break it down, and forgive me, anybody once again watching this, it's not a great movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not a great movie. It's a wonderful movie in retrospect. At the time, not a good movie. There are no kills. There's nothing gory. There's nothing new really. But they fucking believed in what they were doing and they loved it.
Yeah.
And that transfers. It does. It's a real feeling that jumps into it. It is in many ways better than any amount of, like you were talking about the low budget side of things earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It transcends the money. If you're a horror fan, it transcends it.
Well, and I'll touch a little bit about TCM. John Dugan is Harlow. He was Grandpa Sawyer from TCM, the original, and who is the old guy with the hammer at the end. And he's one of my best friends. I love him. We talk all the time and stuff. But I've had an amazing opportunity to talk to him about the movie in the past. I don't worrying to to death about it, or I would. But I've talked to people like at the cons and things, and you've probably even heard this, but one thing that's come up more than once, where people talked about the meat hook scene.
Right.
Oh, it's so bloody, and oh my God, I can't watch it. And she was, the blood. There's no blood. There's no.
Not bad at all.
It's like
you're a horror person. Like when you watch enough horror movies, like when you go back and watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the shock of the hitchhiker, like cutting what's his name with the fucking razor, right? Like that. Yeah. But when you really watch it, it's pretty tame.
It actually, if you watch it with no sound, it's a different.
It's almost nothing, right? Exactly. If there's no sudden punch, there's no uplift in the volume or anything, it's not as violent or as visceral as you would expect it to be. It is really bad when you watch it in context.
Yes, context means
which is, I mean, like Tobe Hooper, like that whole thing with the Chainsaw Massacre, it is a classic for a reason. There's no part of that movie that doesn't stick with you, but when you take it apart, when you really sit and watch it, especially through a modern lens, it's not really that bad. There is so much in the horror genre that has been lost because of an attempt to show all the horrible shit. And like I would argue that that was a lot of the French extremism in the early 2000s, right? I mean, you had Jesus, how many fucking movies came out? I mean, they were pretty bad. Like they were great, but they were horrible because they didn't flinch. There was no camera movement.
Yeah.
I honestly, one of my favorite horror movies that's come out in the past fucking 20 years was The Void.
Yeah.
And it was practical effects, and the reason why I loved it is because they pulled away, with the exception of a couple of key scenes. When something bad was about to happen, it was either in really bad lighting or they moved.
Yeah.
And they left it to the viewer's imagination. There is something to be said for that style of filmmaking. It's not just a matter of being low budget, it's a matter of leaving it up to the audience's imagination, which goes also back to the idea that you are in sort of an agreement with the audience and understand, I have made this movie, these are the scenes, you will do your part as an audience. There is something to that.
It is a bit of a deal there. And, you know, and the first thing I think about is Hitchcock and Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's, you know, the things didn't happen that you think. But his writing, or the Robert Bloch's writing, gets in your mind and takes you into places in your own mind would be scarier than anything you're going to see on film. So you're, as a filmmaker, if you can guide the viewer, it's like a magic trick. It's like, you know,
it is.
You know, you're doing this, but I'm going to do that, and that's what you're doing. You're controlling that attention, but not too much, but enough to, you know, you're as a director. That's your job, is to direct the attention, or direct the what's going on in a way. And if you can combine that with the writing, I mean, for any director, that would be, you know, the thing, or at least, you know, for me, that's like, you know, you got it. And, you know, you don't have that, you know, every shot or scene or something, but when you get one together, you just kind of feel it. It's like that clicked and that clicked and that clicked. Boom. All right. When they see it or hear it or whatever, the last element, I want to feel it. And that's, you can't other than, you know, showing up to somebody's house and, you know, punching them on the chest and like, hey, you're gonna do that. But, you know, you've got to give them the tools to feel in a certain way. All right, the one movie, okay, y'all can laugh at me and everything, I don't care, but the one movie that still scares me, damn it, and I'm not afraid to admit it, Exorcist. Why does that movie, I mean, with her,
Still gets me, absolutely.
with her, the line, I can't almost say it, it's a perfect day for an exorcism. That line just, I'm getting, look, it's just like it was delivered in such, and with the cold breath and everything, it's like, oh my God. And there's nothing happened.
I was just as creeped out. So, yeah.
That's when it came back out, and when they re-released it in theaters. I want to say it was around like 2005.
Something like that, yeah.
Earlier, they re-released it. Did you guys watch it? Did you go and see it?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, when she crab walks down the stairs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Here's the thing. I had seen it on VHS fucking 50 times prior to watching that. That was the first time it ever hit me. That scene, which I would argue, like, watching it on a big screen probably had something to do with it. But there was more to it. It was the sound, it was the effect, it was everything leading up to it. And this is a movie that I'd seen, like I said, 50 times before. I knew it was coming, and it still hit me like it was brand new. That is an intense fucking scene.
And what we're saying, there's really nothing really happening. I mean, there's no blood, nothing. I mean, the girl, you know, the gymnast or whatever, you know, did the walk, and you know, they Crank the movie or the frame. Yeah, it's simple stuff, but it's like it's effective
Yeah.
as hell. I mean, it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And the sound in that.
Which is like that's the thing. Like we have something once again, Craig and I have talked about on so many occasions. A jump scare is a lazy thing. It's not a bad thing. It has its place, but there are so many modern horror movies that rely on it. They rely on weird, the fucking sub.
They turn around and it's like,
Yeah, and so the whole idea, like something coming in from left of frame, which is there's no way you didn't see that. Shut the fuck up. So, the idea that if you're not a horror person, and there are a lot of really big budget movies that'll collect people that are not horror people, so those jump scares work. But if you are a horror person, not only do they not work, all it does is piss you off because it's lazy, right? So the thing about The Exorcist, though, that crab walk thing, like I said, it was the first time I ever recognized the jump scare as something that could be built to. It wasn't just because it was loud. It wasn't any of that. It was like I knew it was coming. I had seen it, but seeing it on the big screen in context made it a whole new thing. It wasn't a jump scare. It was just fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So the idea of The Exorcist is like, no, The Exorcist is a terrifying fucking movie.
Yeah, especially like the flashes of Pazuzu and like the facial features are just like terrifying.
And once again, Pazuzu being what it's not like when you look at a freeze frame, it's makeup. It's not even intense makeup. It's fucking dark shadows under the eyes and a teeth set. Like it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not like
flashing that shit in the middle of an intense moment is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've thought a million times, why does this freak me out? Like, because again, talking about the makeup or the effects or anything, it's like I've seen worse. Yeah, a million times. It's like there's nothing really that bad. Why does it? Because it's getting in here somehow,
right.
And that's amazing. You know, a thing about that movie that I was thinking about, the sound was so quiet and so silent in so many scenes. And I was on a show a couple of years ago, and I was a guest with Spider One, and Rob Zombie's brother, and he's a filmmaker, and I was talking to him about using sound in certain roles and things like that, and about music. I mean, where should you use music and here and there? But he mentioned something or said something that really stuck with me, and it was about it's about the music or the sound, but it's also as much to be restrained or to have less sound or music. And that really has stuck with me because it's like, if I don't see, film, if the story is carrying the action without sound, then you've got a solid scene or whatever, or even the whole story right there. So that's something that I go back to, like the Exorcist. It is such a just a creepy, scary place in a quiet way.
I get the same, Larry. So I think we were going to end up wrapping this up eventually.
Oh yeah, because we.
This is the problem. This happens every time. It becomes
like our curse.
Well, no, it's because you cannot put horror people in the same room together and have a conversation that fucking just rolls to an end, because it leads into something else.
Another sequel.
See, I would like to bring up The Omen. I want to bring up The Omen as it relates to the fucking Exorcist. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this is not, I can't help it because it's like one of the terrifying moment for me was the relation to the pictures when I was a kid. When that happened in that movie, I was like, oh God, it made the whole movie terrifying.
The Shining.
And it's, I mean, there is something to that. And I guess as it relates to Harlow's Haunt, there is an attempt to get back to that sort of feel.
I tried to. Because I felt the story from a place that I love those movies. Those movies I would stay up late and watch when, you know, my parents are probably, you know, telling me to go to bed or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I that was what I was trying to regenerate to the Harlow story. And that's why there's well, I don't want, you know, give too much away. It was story first, and everything needed to serve the story. And I didn't want to have any violence that didn't just, if it didn't make sense, it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah, there's a place for it, and there's more violence in some of the actions of some of the people. And so, you know, there was, again, it was so dense. And if you actually just read the story, it's a totally, you know, so many layers on top of it. You can, and you're kind of limited in a way with film because you can only show this to happen, you know, in time or whatever. But then in a narrative, you can, you do a whole totally different thing with it. So
I still think it's absolutely great. It is wonderful to me that
yeah,
there's nobody that's still out there making anything original. Any attempt, I would say, from our standpoint, is appreciated. I will, you know, it's like when the first Hatchet showed up, I was like, fuck yeah, finally. Yeah, same thing. The idea that there is something new, it is still open. In horror, I would also argue, from cinema standpoint, it's the last place that real creativity exists.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, there is nobody sitting down to make a low budget drama. It just doesn't happen anymore. It's not happening. There's no low budget comedy. Fucking Kevin Smith was the last of that.
yeah,
It's not to say that there aren't people that would like to. There are. They just know they have to have major studio and major money behind it. It is wonderful to me that you sat down and made this happen. And it's like you said, it can be done. If you have an idea, fucking run with it. Make it happen. There's software that you can use for fucking free. Go with it. There is an audience. There is an audience waiting.
and I give, you know, it's not shocking is not the word. It's amazing the feedback that I've got from people, you know, in other countries and stuff. It's like, how did you find this? Oh, well, I know it's, you know, on these streamers and stuff, but it's like, and you know, I give the you know, credit to Bayview and my distributor for, you know, getting the word out, but it's found other audiences, and that then they've reported that they like it, and it's like, great. I mean, you know, I've reached a person, and you know, I've made them a couple hours of entertainment. I mean, what better? I mean, well, unless they want to, you know, send them up, you know, millions of dollars or something, you know, that'd be fine. The other payoff is, you know, boy, it was, you know, it was worth the earth, the worth of the work and doing all that. And yeah, it takes a lot of work, but you can't, like you just said, you can do these things. I mean, you can. There's a lot of stuff that you aren't going to know. I mean, there's plenty I don't know, but you can just figure it out. And again, the tools we've got, you can figure it out, what anything you need. So, you know, it's just it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of time, and investment, not so much dollars, but the time and all that. But and then next thing you know, you're like, okay, render, we're done, and you know, send it out to get Blu-rays. Oh, by the way, we've got Blu-rays.
Awesome.
This is actually the way we round out these conversations. Plug whatever you got. Let people know there's a Blu-ray. Let people know there's a website. Let people know anything.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, I'll start at the website is Black Dog Films with a Z.com. And my company is Black Dog Films, and that was named for my dog who passed away the weekend we started shooting. So it made things a little harder for me because we were super close. And I don't know if you can see, but I've got his
Awesome.
and Dingo. And so yeah, that's the website Black Dog Films, and also we've got a really active Facebook group, IG, TikTok, so all that stuff, and it's always under Harlows Haunt. So it's easy, everything's consistent. So if you can find us anywhere, but we do have the Blu-rays went out a few months ago, and they're on Amazon and all that stuff like that. But I got a handful of ones that I kind of use only for appearances and things like that, because I sign them. So if they're worth $1 million one days or something, but I do a lot of I'm doing more conventions and stuff like that. So, but I do have some Blu-rays available through our website, and signed it, and there's usually a little surprise prize that gets in there. So more than just a Blu-ray. So maybe like a prop or something like that that kind of surprises the recipient. So yeah. So we've got official.
Nice.
And so we've got that. We've got shirts, all that stuff, and we've got more coming. New designs and some of that stuff. So yeah, it's always something. And but yeah, the promotion's really rolling now. We're on Screenbox, Tubi, Chilling, Prime, I'm going down the list, Voodoo, Fandango, Zumo, Plex, Flix Flings. I don't know if you ever, that was new to me for some reason. Have you ever seen Flex Flings?
No.
I've seen Flex back when it first started. So that was like, as far as, I don't know if it's a new combination. I just know Flex. I remember when it first popped up.
Well, I think, if I'm correct, it's based out of Florida, believe it or not. But I think their biggest market is in Canada, but I think they're also in the US, and they're kind of expanding. Cool thing I want to mention, that they have a division called Cult Flicks, and they've got a ton of stuff on there that I haven't seen on another place.
You got the Kiss on. I'm watching.
What is it?
The Kiss. It was a terrible movie. It was like nothing good about it, except I watched it when I was a kid and I loved it.
Oh, there you go.
It was actually, you know what's crazy? It wasn't even bad. Bad is not the right way to put it. It was nonsensical with great practical effects.
There you go.
Terrible storyline, wonderful practical effects.
We got to have great effects.
That's, once again, any horror person I know, it's what they're going to go for before they go for anything else. Which, by the way, backs into Harlows Haunt. So, once again, Terry, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the conversation. Absolutely wonderful. Harlows Haunt. Anybody you guys have heard where you can watch it, and you probably should. It's worth seeing. This was a pleasure. On behalf of Craig, myself, Terry, thank you guys for stopping in.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was a lot of fun.
Seriously, thank you for coming on and talking about it.
Fancy a game?
Nightmare, the game hosted by a video.
I am the gatekeeper!
To win, you must stop it.
Roll the dice!
The video board game Nightmare. The gatekeeper talks to you,
Whose turn is it next?
and you must answer him.
Answer me! Yes, my gatekeeper. Go for it!
Nightmare, a race against time for 3 to 6 very game players.
Let's party!
Hidden inside the house at 21 Shady Lane Avenue is a black and white TV with the power to turn itself on and come alive with the dead, the video dead. But for the new owners, their first warning may be too late.
Why did you kill her?
You don't know what you're messing with.
The video dead, a new form and shape for zombie terror that invades a neighborhood and threatens the innocent, the unsuspecting, and the unbelieving. Nothing can prepare you. Nothing can save you. Nothing can stop the onslaught of the video dead. It's the Late Show to end them all. Look what's buried inside your TV. The video dead.
It's 1987. Do you know where Freddy is? There's no waking up from this nightmare. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors, rated R.
Now showing at a theater near you.